Okay, so let's take a look at this course syllabus, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me using my Hotmail account or course email. As you can see on the syllabus, the office hours are stated as Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So that just means those are the times that I'll log in to the chat room, and you can ask me any questions during those times. But feel free, like if you have a question that pops in your head, at 9 o'clock on a Monday night, you could email that to me and I will respond, the next morning. So don't feel like you have to use the chat rooms at all times to ask me questions. Feel free to send me an email whenever you have a question or want more information about something. So the course description: this course focuses on reading and writing, on the primacy of language informing our ideas about the world, and the role of literature in thinking, interpreting, and communicating. The course links the reading of literature, the study and practice of writing, and the tools of critical analysis. We will read works written by men and women in a variety of genres from early modern times to the present. So basically, it's a overview course, survey course on a variety of literature, and we'll study writing, how to write for academic purposes, and you'll also just gain some critical thinking skills as well. So just by interpreting a piece of literature, you're gaining in critical thinking. The required texts for this course are the Broadview Introduction to Literature, and this is the 2013 edition that I'm using, but if you had a different edition, an older edition, you probably should have access to most of the poetry and short stories and the play that we're studying. So I don't think it's changed too much between editions, but if for some reason there was a poem that we talk about online in the lecture that you don't have access to in the book, everything is available online. You just have to sort of go out and find that by Googling it. So it is available. You might just have to do a little bit of searching for it. The next text is Art Spiegelman's Mouse, Books 1 and 2. This also comes as the complete Mouse, where both books are in one larger hard copy book. My version has two separate books, Books 1 and Books 2. Either one would be useful or applicable to buy. And then the last required text is Joseph Augie Morasti and David Carpenter's The Education of Augie Morasti, which is a memoir, residential school memoir. Optional texts. There's a style sheet that's available online through the department, University of Regina English Department homepage. I would definitely recommend that you find this style sheet on the course or on the university homepage and print it off because it kind of gives you a good overview of what a paper, any paper that you write for any course in university, as long as it's sort of MLA style, it gives you an overview of what that paper will look like. So it's good, especially for new students, university students who maybe have not submitted anything yet. There's also a grammar handbook, Maxine Ruvinsky's Practical Grammar, a Canadian Writer's Resource. This one is a grammatical textbook that I would recommend for students, especially if you need some extra practice with your grammar and writing. So I'll post some writing tips and overview and grammar exercises on the course homepage, but I can't make you do it. Like, I'm not marking those grammar sheets or anything like that. So it's kind of up to you to monitor your own grammar needs, your own writing, and working on it in your own time as well. So obviously I'll give you feedback on your essays, and in most cases you might have, errors in comma splices or run-on sentences or sentence fragments. And it's really up to you to sort of take that feedback on your essay and work on those areas that I indicate that you need to work on. And this grammar handbook would be one way for you to work on those specific areas of your writing. The student objectives for the course. So to pass an English 100 class, these are just common to all English 100 classes, but to pass English 100, a student must, by the end of class or end of term, have shown the competence in organizing an essay on a set topic, developing ideas logically and systematically, and supporting these ideas with the necessary evidence, quotations, or examples. So that's basic essay writing, and using quotations, which is your evidence, in your essays. So I do expect you to use quotations from the texts that we study in your essays, and you'll learn how to do that over the course. You're going to learn how to organize a paragraph. We'll also use Mla style documentation. So number 3 there, you'll see documenting essays properly using the Mla style of parenthetical references and a bibliography or works cited. So Mla style is just the style used by the humanities and English courses, and it's the author's last name and the page number in most cases. That's all you need to include at the end of a quotation, or if you're giving a sort of paraphrase, author's last name, page number. Some of your other courses, so if you're writing in the sciences or some social sciences, they use APA style, and that one asks you to include the year of the source as well. But that's not Mla style. So I don't require you to use APA. I want you to use Mla style. Number 4 is the grammatical component of an English 100 class. So these are the common errors that we see most often. Comma splices, run-on, sentence fragments, faulty agreements, faulty or vague references, so vague use of this or that, shifts in person, number, tense, or mood. Tense shifts is a big one. Dangling modifiers, spelling correctly and punctuating correctly. So obviously students usually use a spell check when you're submitting your essays, and I recommend you do use that. But that doesn't sort of take the place of a good proofreading. So make sure you're reading your writing before you submit it, and catch those errors that even spell check can't catch. So sometimes it just looks for spelling, right? It's not going to catch the grammatical errors all the time. So you want to make sure that you proofread your own writing. You could get somebody else to proofread it, but in most cases you could do it yourself. Just give it a good, once or twice over before you submit it, and it usually helps catch some of those easily identifiable grammar errors. Student responsibilities. Students are expected to listen to all the lectures and complete all written assignments and examinations. Failure to submit a major assignment or failure to write the final exam results in an automatic incomplete. The grade will be entered as NP and calculated as 40% on the student's transcripts. Non-attendance does not constitute withdrawal. Notice of withdrawal must be given in writing or by telephone. Students dropping courses after the last official dates for withdrawal will be assigned a failing grade. So just make sure that you are aware that if you don't hand in a major assignment, that you will not pass the class. So major assignments are things like essay assignments and the final exam. If you missed a discussion forum, it's no big deal. You can, just make it up in, or, it's not going to hurt your mark too much. But if you do miss a major essay assignment, or you're unable to write the final exam, that's when you would get a non-pass or NP mark. There is some cases where students have missed the final exam and then they apply for a deferral. So it gives them a little bit more time at the end of the course, so another month or so, they have to complete all the assignments. And in that case, you do have to apply for the deferred exam or deferred assignment. But it has to be approved by, the department head, and but it's something to consider. So make sure that you're doing all your assignments and trying to do those on time. I'm a little bit flexible though, so I realize that people have busy schedules. So make sure that you are also aware that I do give an extension. So you're allowed to take an extension if you really need one, of a maximum of 7 days. So if you're unable to get that assignment done, and the due date's tomorrow, just make sure you email me and say, Justine, can I please use my extension, and I'll get it to you within 1 week. So unless you have a documented, medical reason for not turning something in, you will get late penalty on your assignment. So make sure you talk to me if something's, you're not going to make a deadline and you want the extension. Just let me know that you want to use it. Plagiarism is a big problem, so we have to sort of include this statement in our syllabus that just informs students that, this is academic misconduct, and if you're caught plagiarizing, you can be, given a 0 in the course, or, even worse punishments or repercussions for that plagiarism. So you want to make sure that you're giving proper credit to where you got that information, where you're taking that quote, where you're taking those words from, and put that in properly cited references in your essays. So in most cases, I see students plagiarizing by just sort of cutting and pasting and dropping something into their essay without properly crediting where they got it from. So you just want to make sure that you are, if you're reading anything about online or in another book, or you want to use information, do it in a way that gives credit to the original source. And one way of doing that is by using Mla Citation Style. So you're giving the author's last name and the page number where you got that information, or the website's name where you got that information. But just make sure that you're properly giving the credit to the person whose ideas you're using. It's responsible researching, basically. There are accommodations that are available for students who have disabilities. So you are responsible for booking accommodations for exams or assignments. Make sure you do that right away in the course, and they can communicate with me any of the accommodations that are needed. For the evaluation, we have here 4 essays and the discussion forums and the final exam. So you have 4 essays over the course of the term. The first one is due January 22nd, which is a Sunday. They're all due Sunday at midnight, basically. Well, 5 to midnight. The first one is going to be a short story analysis. So in the first unit, we're going to study a bunch of different short stories. You're going to pick the one that you felt you understood the best, and you're going to write an essay on it. And I'll give you a little bit more guidance if you look on the course homepage and click in the Turnitin, which is the app that we use for students to submit their papers online. So you'll have more description of what the assignments are, but this one's going to be 750 to 1,000 words, so that's 3 to 4 pages. Not too bad, and it's worth 10%. So the second one is essay number 2. It's going to be about poetry, so we'll again read a selection of poetry. You're going to choose one of those poems and write a more in-depth look at that poem. And that one's shorter, so it's 500 to 750 words. That's 2 to 3 pages, double spaced. And that one's going to be due in February 5th, and it's worth 10%. Essay number 3 is going to be on the play A Doll's House. So this is our dramatic work, a play. And this one's going to be 750 to 1,000 words. That's 3 to 4 pages, double spaced. It's due near the end of February 26th, and it's worth 15%. And then your last essay is going to be the comparison essay, where I'm going to have you compare any 2 texts in the course, and you're going to sort of devise your own thesis for that one. But this was a little longer, and I want research added to this essay number 4. So it's going to be 750 words to 1250, and so that's, let's see, 3 to 5 pages, and it's due near the end of term, April 9th, and it's worth 20%. This part I just wanted you to pay attention to. So discussion forums, we have 5 of them. They're worth 20% in total, so 4 marks each. So I want you to make sure that you're aware that of these deadlines for the discussion forum, because the forum closes at 11:55 p.m. on this day. So you want to make sure that your reply or your response is submitted before the cutoff, because once the cutoff happens, then you can't respond anymore to that forum. Your forum is in the form of a response and a reply. So your initial response has to be around 50 words minimum, and no longer than 250. That's like a page. So I don't expect a very long response. It could be just a well-formed paragraph. And usually the discussion forums are based around a series of questions on that unit, and I'll give you some study questions, and you can pick one and answer that in the discussion forum. I'm also looking for replies, so if you reply to your fellow classmates with something, you know, your own interpretation, or if you have another follow-up question for them, or if you want to respond to their answer, you could also reply to your classmates and use this as a kind of conversation about the literature that we're studying. And it kind of, the discussion forum sort of takes the place of a classroom discussion. So think of it that way, and use it as a way. It's also a very good study tool too, if you want to go back and look at these discussions about the text. The final exam, I don't have the date yet for it, but it's open book, and it's going to be worth 25%. It covers everything on the course, so it's comprehensive, and usually there's one essay on it, as well as, you know, short answer questions. It's not usually multiple choice, but you do have some options. But I'll give you an overview when we're closer to that date about exactly what to do on your final exam, and how to study for it. So in the syllabus, you'll see, you know, there's a description of each of the assignments, but on the course homepage, you'll get even more in-depth descriptions of each assignment once you click on the Turn It In apps. But yeah, here you get a kind of overview of the 4 assignments, and I'll let you guys read that on your own time. Here's a description of the discussion forums. So here, yeah, this is an online discussion. You're actively participating with your classmates. So I'll put you guys in sort of groups, and in your group will be, you know, 4 or 5 other students in the class. You'll each be responsible for a 50-word or to 250-word response before the deadline, and then if you could also read each other's responses before the deadline and give a reply to at least one other person's response. So that's basically what I'm looking for that one. Yeah, and then I look at, when I assess them, I look for postings that reflect on the readings and topics and respond to the questions that I've given you. They're well thought out. They open up the discussion. They encourage others to participate. You're asking questions and responding to questions. You're validating or agreeing with other opinions and explaining why you think the way you do. You extend what other people have written about and expand on their insights in a new way. You can summarize the work and recognize the contributions that other people have made to the forum. You could introduce a new idea or a new way of thinking about the concept, and your postings are clear and concise. And then on the syllabus, you'll also find our weekly schedule. So our various units. Week 1 is the January 5th to 8th, so it's really just a short couple of days. But in that time, you can still, watch the introductory lecture, review the syllabus, participate in the introductory forum. Our first unit will be a short story unit. And in this unit, you're responsible for doing the readings of the short stories. And in this syllabus, you'll see there are links to online versions. But all of these texts, except for this one, Louise Erdrich, are available in the Broadview Introduction to Literature. So if you have the course text, you should be able, you'll have copies of all these texts. If you don't have the textbook right away, then you can find them online. And then your first writing assignment will be due January 22nd, and you'll submit it online through the course homepage. And then we go through our poetry unit, our drama unit, our graphic novel unit, and then finally our memoir or novel study of the education of Augie Morasti. And that's about it. At the very end of the syllabus, you'll find some key terms for fiction, and these are just some vocabulary that I might bring up in our course lectures. It's a good idea for you to have a clear grasp of these words, most of them anyway. The ones that I mentioned in lecture are obviously the ones that are most important. There might be some in here that maybe aren't as important. But it's a good overview of some literary terms that are part of, talking about literature as using the language appropriate for this English discourse. So you want to make sure that you're aware at least of some of these key terms. And then at the very end of the syllabus, you'll see the grading standards for English 100, and these are university set. I didn't come up with the grading standards, but each instructor has to sort of conform to this model. And you could see, what is a successful essay and how we really evaluate students' work. Most students fall within the kind of 60 to 70 range for first year. That's not to say that you can't be an 80, range student. Some students, have a very strong grasp of writing, even within their first year. But usually it takes a kind of, a gradual growth as you learn over the course of the term and over the course of your university career what the expectations are and how to write and how to research. And we look at all these things. So for the 70 range, we'll just look at this one. So you're demonstrating an understanding of the course content and use this to provide reliable insight into a subject such as a literary work or a controversial issue. Your essay will show organization, continuity, as well as appreciation of the audience's need to track the writer's meaning. they teach the reader and are relatively error-free. So that's a kind of middle, you know, a B is the 70 range, 60 is the C range, 50 is D, and then anything lower than 50 is a failing grade. A is 80 or above, and 90 is considered, you know, A++, basically. So you can expect to fall within that somewhere between, you know, 60 to 85 range usually, unless your work is suffering in some major area. So if you're a failing grade, you're deficient in a number of ways. And I've rarely had students who fail the course unless they don't complete a major assignment. So this is also something to keep in mind, that, you know, if you don't do the work, I can't mark you for the work. So you want to make sure that you're doing your assignments, and I can assess your writing, basically. Okay, so if you have any questions about syllabus and the course, feel free to email me. But this is just an overview, and I expect, you know, you guys can read this in more detail and look at the course homepage as well.